Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Alicia. Today I'm going to give you guys some tips on how to change your mindset. Not every day is perfect. Not every day is awesome. I mean, everybody has struggles and there are things that are just really bad and you can't really change that. But I do feel like on the day-to-day, we can change our outlook. How you choose, and I really do feel like it's a choice to see the world changes whether you're having a positive day or a negative day. I am not perfect on this. It is a struggle. But one of my coworkers has been really helpful in giving tips for this, etc., and always helping me to look on the positive side. So I just kind of came up with 5 tips. One, kind of that whole adage, is your glass half full or is it half empty? If something is happening to you, you can see the positive out of it, or you can let it ruin your day and get angry and bitter about it. And I feel like whichever path you choose breeds more of that. So if you're going to be angry and upset about it, you're just going to get bitter and dark and have a dark color lens on how you see everything. Whereas if you choose to be thankful, and see your glass half full, you're going to have a rose colored lens and it's going to kind of like build positivity. And so I feel like whenever something happens, we kind of have a choice. And again, that's not to say that, there aren't going to be things where you're legit have a, right to be upset about. But just, more often than not, are you choosing to see whatever's happening as a glass half full? And then I kind of mentioned already my number 2, but being grateful. There are so many things that we have to be grateful for, even if, you got a flat tire, which clearly you're welcome to be frustrated about. But instead of letting that one flat tire hang the rest of your day, week, or month, look at all the other things that you have going for you and find something to be grateful for. I don't do this, but I know lots of people do have like a gratitude journal where every day or every evening you kind of start your day with the 3 things you're grateful for in the day. I'm not quite sure how the journals work, but I do feel like we have so many things to be thankful for. So finding the positive, finding the things to be grateful for, and really practicing saying thank you for that. Whether it's to God or the universe or whatever your beliefs are, but finding, something to be thankful for, and really kind of mentally, taking pause with that. Number 3, and this comes from my coworker. He says this quite a bit. But if I'm ever complaining that I have to do something, he always tells me I get to do it. And that resonates with me quite a bit because both of my parents have already passed. And so our time here is limited. And in the last week or 2, we chose to give my daughter's room a makeover. The walls had lots of things going on with them. They needed like resurfaced and painted. The carpet was very stained and kind of yucky. And it's been a process getting all of her stuff out, all of the things we've had to deal with. But I was telling my husband the other day, we get to do that. Number 1, we chose to do that, but we also get to do that. We're fortunate enough that we can afford to redo her room. And so even if it's brought on struggles, we get to do that. Maybe you have to pick up your kids. Well, you get to do that. Or whatever it is. I feel like that's a really good way to frame something, is that you get to do it. Because maybe somebody else doesn't get to do that. And so that's really been a game changer, thinking about it that way. And then, so number 4, I have make the most of your time. That kind of goes back to my other one but life is short. And I've known that. My mom died when I was 21. And so I've always kind of made a pledge to myself that whatever day I die, I want to die knowing I've done everything I can. And so we do a lot. We're always on the go. We're always making memories, doing things, because I want to know when my time's up that I've done all the things, made all the memories. I tell you, hug your relative, say I love you, which is kind of spurring off into some other thing. But make the most of your time here. And do you want that time to be happy, or do you want to be angry and bitter? So again, I mean, that kind of all circles back to the see your glass half full, because you don't want to spend your whole life on this planet being angry and bitter. And then I just wrote down on my notes, be like Elsa and let it go, the Frozen movie. But I feel like there's so many things that are small in comparison to other things, and that you let that kind of chew at your craw and just, you don't let it go, and it kind of eats you up inside when there's really bigger problems out there. Again, not to say that your day-to-day problems aren't legit, and you're totally, it's human and normal to be upset and whatever. But again, you know, in a given week, are you 80% happy and joyful, or are you 80%, you know, negative and getting bitter and angry? And then my number 5, which might be easier or harder depending on what the issue is, but change it. So if you're unhappy and there are things making you unhappy, try to find a way to change it. And often it, like, even little changes can snowball into big changes. A kind of silly one is my bed that I'm staring at because I film in my bedroom. But we had gotten new furniture about 5 years ago when we did the addition. And on paper, I loved the bed. It was solid wood. I loved it. I loved the natural look of it. But it was a sleigh bed. And at the time, I didn't realize that, I don't know whether all sleigh beds do this or just that particular bed. I'm not even sure there wasn't some sort of like, it was mismade. But anyway, the sleigh bed kind of arched back towards the wall, and there was a big hole where no matter, like, we could kind of kick up the mattress and it would work for one day, but the pillows would just fall down in the hole, or they wouldn't support you like they would. And I really had wanted to get rid of that, but it seemed like a waste since we had just bought it 5 years ago. So last year I'd gotten kind of a cheap bed on Amazon that I didn't like. So then my husband put the other old bed back up. But this time around, I got a little more expensive bed from Home Depot, and I love it. It's like the pillows are supporting, it's doing what it's supposed to. So that kind of small change cascaded into a lot of things. I like my bedroom more, I sleep better. And so that sort of seems like a silly change, but things like that. I know for me, whenever the clutter starts building up, that kind of affects me. So getting some of that out, whether it's therapy or, I mean, the list would be endless. But trying to self-analyze what's making you unhappy and then try to fix that, if possible. So anyway, just sort of a short and sweet video, but, there are days where I fail at this, and of course, again, human and natural. And there are things that I'm never going to not be unhappy. But I do like to let things roll off and try to find the bright side. Anyway, thank you for sharing. I hope you have a great